Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Balsa Williams and with me is Anita Anand with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds talks with visiting Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to further strengthen bilateral partnership. 7 agreements exchanged covering water resources, railways, science and technology, along with space technology sector. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh says India is fully committed to further deepening multifaceted strategic partnership with Mongolia. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar says India-Australia relationship has shifted gears and moved into a higher orbit to bring out mutual benefits. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal asserts India's game-changing economic reforms lead to expansion of business frontiers. Centre announces constitution of a national-level committee under chairmanship of former Union Minister Suresh Prabhu for drafting of national cooperation policy. Enforcement Directorate conducts raids in connection with Delhi excise policy case. Karnataka Chief Minister says Bengaluru is facing one of its worst natural calamities of the last 90 years. Civic bodies working round the clock to restore normalcy. In sports, Subroto Cup International Football Tournament to kick off in New Delhi this evening, and in Asia Cup T20 Cricket, India to take on Sri Lanka in the Super 4 game at the Dubai International Cricket Stadium this evening. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina held bilateral talks in New Delhi today to review and further strengthen the all-encompassing India-Bangladesh partnership. The India-Bangladesh delegation-level talks were led by both leaders. Issues related to connectivity, energy, water resources, trade and investment, border management and security, development partnership and regional and multilateral matters were on the agenda. 7 agreements, including on water resources, railways, science and technology, space technology, were exchanged following the talks. This includes an MOU between Prasar Bharati and Bangladesh Television on cooperation in the field of broadcasting. Earlier this morning, Ms. Hasina was accorded ceremonial welcome at Rashtrapati Bhavan. She arrived on a 4-day visit to India yesterday. Speaking to media on the occasion, the Bangladesh Prime Minister said India is a friend and recalled the contribution India has made during liberation war of her nation. She hoped today's discussion will be fruitful and added that the main aim is to develop economically and also fulfill the basic needs of people. Ms. Hasina also paid her respects to Mahatma Gandhi at Rajghat. The Bangladesh Prime Minister will call on President Draupadi Murmu and Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar this evening. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar called on the visiting dignitary yesterday. In his statement, Prime Minister Modi expressed confidence that India and Bangladesh ties will touch new heights.
मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि अगले 25 सालों के अमृत काल में भारत बांग्लादेश मित्रता नई ऊंचाइयां छुएगी। प्रधानमंत्री शेख हसीना जी के नेतृत्व में बांग्लादेश ने उल्लेखनीय प्रगति की है। पिछले कुछ सालों में हमारा आपसी सहयोग भी हर क्षेत्र में तेजी से बढ़ा है। आज बांग्लादेश भारत का सबसे बड़ा डेवलपमेंट पार्टनर और क्षेत्र में हमारा सबसे बड़ा ट्रेड पार्टनर है।
He also stated that India and Bangladesh have decided to increase cooperation in sectors like IT, space and nuclear energy, which are of interest to the younger generations. He added that both nations will also continue to cooperate on climate change and on preserving common heritage, like the Sundarbans. Mr. Modi said they also stressed on cooperation against terrorism and fundamentalism. He said to keep the spirit of 1971 alive, it is necessary to face such forces together who want to attack both nations' mutual trust.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh held a meeting with his Mongolian counterpart Serkhon Gursed in Ulaanbaatar today. They had in-depth deliberations on adding further momentum to India-Mongolia defence cooperation. The minister also met President of Mongolia, Yuk Khurelsuk. In a series of tweets, Mr. Singh said India is fully committed to further deepening multifaceted strategic partnership with Mongolia. During the visit, he also interacted with Speaker of Mongolian Parliament, Zadan Shatar. He complimented the Speaker on his consistent support to promote and expand India and Mongolia's shared heritage of Buddhism. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar today said India and Australia relationship has shifted gears and moved into a higher orbit. Addressing the Australia-India Leadership Dialogue 2022 virtually, the minister said stronger leadership and more open exchanges have brought out the mutual benefits of closer cooperation and coordination. He emphasized that greater political confidence and stronger defense cooperation have also contributed to the participation of Australia in Exercise Malabar 2020. He said Australia has been an early and vigorous supporter of India's Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative. He said much of the growing convergence has been driven by concerns about the region's stability, prosperity and security. Dr. Jaishankar highlighted that Australia is a major education destination for Indian students and the Indian community is a source of strength for both societies.
Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal has said that game-changing economic reforms have been undertaken in India and it will become a $30 trillion economy in the next 30 years.
The game-changing economic reforms that have happened in India, be it GST, be it IBC, be it the effort to decriminalize laws and make it easier to do business, the fact that we are trying to reduce compliances significantly, the low corporate tax for new businesses coming into India, the removal of the dividend distribution tax, which was a deterrent for international investment into India because A, they were paying almost 22% on their dividends, B, that was not getting a tax set off on the DTAA, the single window that we have tried to create, all of these are clearly pointing to a very renewed enthusiasm in India to expand the frontiers of business, economic activity. I very often said that as growth rates in India are suggesting, we will be a $30 trillion economy in the next 30 years.
Mr. Goyal said this while launching the 6 representative offices of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and USA. He also said India has become one of the world's most attractive investment destinations and world leaders are making efforts to expand their engagement with India. The Centre has announced the constitution of a national-level committee for drafting of the national cooperation policy. The committee, under the chairmanship of former Union Minister Suresh Prabhu, consists of 47 members from all parts of the country. It comprises experts of the cooperative sector, representatives of national, state and district cooperative societies, secretaries cooperation and registrars of cooperative societies of states and UTs. The new policy is being formulated to realize the vision of Sahkar se Samriddhi under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Recently, Union Home and Cooperation Minister Amit Shah had announced that a national cooperation policy will soon be prepared which will have a holistic approach from primary agricultural credit society upwards. The new policy document is being formulated with a view to fulfilling the mandate given to the new Ministry of Cooperation, which includes realizing the vision of Sahkar se Samriddhi, strengthening cooperative movement in the country and deepening its reach up to the grassroots. It also includes promoting cooperative-based economic development models, creating an appropriate policy, legal and institutional framework to help cooperatives realize their potential.
Environment Minister Bhupendra Yadav has stressed on the need to realize the goals of low-carbon industry transitions through a multi-pronged approach cutting across the sectors. He said this while attending the policy dialogue enabling state-level strategic actions to achieve India's nationally determined contribution in New Delhi. Mr. Yadav underlined that the low-carbon development strategy, as enunciated in Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Panchamrit strategy, highlights the need to decouple the development process from environmental degradation. He said the clean energy transition in India is already well underway. The minister added that globally India is ranked 4th in terms of installed renewable energy capacity, with non-fossil fuel energy increasing by over 25% in the last 7 years. Chief Justice of India, Justice Uday Umesh Lalit, today inaugurated Nalsa's Centre for Citizen Services at Jaisalmer House in New Delhi. It will provide free legal services to the weaker sections of the society. On the occasion, Justice Lalit congratulated the Executive Chairman of the National Legal Service Authority, NALSA, Dr. Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, and functionaries of the legal services authorities for taking a leap forward in catering to the needs of free legal aid beneficiaries, which is in line with the futuristic vision of 2047. He stated that it is a historic moment for NALSA by establishing a dedicated Center for Citizen Services in dispensation of efficacious legal aid in the country. Dr. Justice Chandrachud enunciated that the Center for Citizen Services, as the name itself suggests, would prove to be an excellent medium of providing effective legal services to the common man without any hassles. On the occasion, Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul also applauded the efforts of NALSA and congratulated all functionaries of the legal services institutions.
The Enforcement Directorate is conducting raids in connection with the Delhi excise policy case. Sources said the searches are being conducted in Delhi NCR as well as in Lucknow, Chandigarh, Mumbai, Hyderabad and other cities. The ED case is based on the CBI FIR in this matter. Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia is among the 15 accused named in the FIR filed by the CBI. The FIR was lodged for alleged violation of rules and procedural lapses in the new liquor policy. BJP has been criticizing the Aam Aadmi Party government for alleged irregularities in the implementation of the policy. Women and Child Development Ministry is celebrating the 5th Rashtriya Poshan Maah 2022 across the country. On the occasion of Poshan Maah 2022, the Iodine Man of India Padma Shri recipient Dr. Chandrakant S. Pandav talked exclusively to AIR News and discussed the importance of millets in India to fight malnutrition. He said millets have been traditional food items of India and now it is being recognized internationally as 2023 is going to be the International Year of Millets.
Millets have been traditional food item of Indian. Nutrition consists of jawar, bajri and nuts. And this particular crop does not require much water. It can be grown very easily. Number 3, the United Nations General Assembly 2013 is going to be the International Year of the Millet. 76 countries have supported. So it's become an international activity.
Dr. Pandav also cited the example of Vietnam and Brazil in their fight against malnutrition and what India can learn from the experience. He said India needs to focus on utilization of resources.
Now, we must understand the reason for behind any successful program, including health program, has got 4 important components. First is political will, second is scientific leadership, third is administrative infrastructure, and fourth is financial resources. But what is important, allocation of resources is sufficient, but we have to make sure that there is a utilization of resources.
The Prime Minister's overarching scheme for holistic nutrition, Poshan Abhiyan, is Government of India's flagship program to improve nutritional outcomes for children under 6 years of age, adolescent girls, pregnant women and lactating mothers. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had launched the program from Jhunjhunu in Rajasthan on the 8th of March 2018, focusing on the aims of Poshan Abhiyan. The government launched Mission Poshan 2.0 as an integrated nutrition support program.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds talks with visiting Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to further strengthen bilateral partnership. 7 agreements exchanged covering water resources, railways, science and technology, along with space technology sector. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh says India is fully committed to further deepening multifaceted strategic partnership with Mongolia. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar says India-Australia relationship has shifted gears and moved into a higher orbit to bring out mutual benefits. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal asserts India's game-changing economic reforms have led to expansion of business frontiers. Centre announces the constitution of a national-level committee under the chairmanship of former Union Minister Sudesh Prabhu for drafting of the National Cooperation Policy. Enforcement Directorate conducts raids in connection with Delhi excise policy case. Karnataka Chief Minister says Bengaluru is facing one of its worst natural calamities of the last 90 years. Civic bodies working round the clock to restore normalcy. In sports, Subrata Cup International Football Tournament to kick off in New Delhi this evening, and in the Asia Cup T20 cricket, India to take on Sri Lanka in the Super 4 game at the Dubai International Cricket Stadium this evening. For quick news updates round the clock, Follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
मुट्ठी भर अंग्रेज और हमारे विशाल देश पर राज करने का स्वप्न देख रहे हैं, पर हम इनके स्वप्न को चकनाचूर कर देंगे।
निकल पड़े स्वाधीनता के पथ भाले, स्वतंत्रता संग्राम की सुनी अनसुनी कहानियों के साथ स्वराज हर रविवार रात 9 बजे डीडी नेशनल पर।
कॉम्पिटिशन्स की तैयारी कर रहे हैं? ऑल इंडिया रेडियो के पेशकश अभ्यास है सिर्फ आपके लिए। व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर आप हमें अपने ऑडियो सवाल भेजें, जिसका जवाब शनिवार रात 9:30 बजे एक्सपर्ट देंगे। इस बार का विषय है संस्कृत, तो संस्कृत विषय पर आपके प्रश्नों का हम करेंगे इंतजार सितंबर 7 तक। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
Welcome back to the Midday News. Karnataka Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai today said Bengaluru is facing one of its worst natural calamities of the last 90 years. Speaking to media persons in Bengaluru today, he stressed that the municipal corporation and other civic bodies are working round the clock to make the city functional. Pumps are put up to drain out water from roads and residential blocks due to overflowing lakes, which number around 69. A part of the city is inundated. To prevent such calamities in future, he added, sluice gates will be installed at the lakes, encroachments removed, and drainage systems will be rectified. Two pumps that supply Kaveri water to Bengaluru city at Tikehalli are inundated by Bhimeshwar River. The Chief Minister assured that by tonight, 230 MLD water will be pumped to the city. Meanwhile, bore wells and water tankers will be provided to supply water to residential areas in Bengaluru. The Chief Minister had informed earlier that 600 crore rupees will be released to rectify roads, bridges, electric poles, transformers and school buildings damaged by incessant rainfall across the state. He added that 1,500 crore rupees is being spent to modernize stormwater drainage networks in Bengaluru. The monsoon session of the Telangana Assembly has begun this morning. The House has taken up condolence motions for former members Mallu Swarajyam and P. Janardhan Reddy on the first day. The House expressed its deep sense of sympathy to the members of the bereaved families. After observing 2-minute silence, Speaker P. Srinivas Reddy adjourned the House till Monday next. Meanwhile, Business Advisory Committee has met after the adjournment of proceedings today. The meeting is deliberating on the number of days the two houses will be in session and the agenda that will be taken up in the session. Our correspondent says the session assumes significance in the light of the latest developments between TRS and BJP on various issues.
The 10th session of the 7th Arunachal Pradesh Legislative Assembly began today. The 3-day session, which commenced today, will conclude on Thursday. 3 important bills: the Arunachal Pradesh Goods and Service Tax First Amendment Bill 2022, the Arunachal Pradesh Civil Courts Amendment Bill 2022, and the Arunachal Pradesh Tenancy Bill 2022 will be introduced on the first day. More than 213 crore 72 lakh vaccine doses have been administered in the country under the nationwide vaccination drive so far. The Health Ministry said around 20 lakh vaccine doses were administered in the last 24 hours. During the same period, 4,417 new COVID cases were reported in the country. India's active caseload currently stands at 52,336 and it is at 0.12%. A total of over 6,000 people have recovered in the last 24 hours. The ministry said the weekly positivity rate stands at 2.06% and the daily positivity rate is at 1.2%.
Over the past 75 years since independence, India's largest public service broadcaster, All India Radio, has been the proverbial storyteller for the 1.3 billion citizens across the country. All India Radio is celebrating 75 years of freedom with the series Azad Bharat Ki Baat Akashvani ke Saath. It showcases the journey of India since independence in various walks of life through the storytelling of All India Radio.
आजाद भारत की बात आकाशवाणी के साथ, reliving the journey of India since independence over the last 75 years with All India Radio. From 15th August, the series is being broadcast on All India Radio, 100.1 FM Gold Channel, primetime news bulletins and across all its platforms. Tune in to stay updated with All India Radio.
In today's episode, we bring you the story of AIR News digital platforms.
The continued trust by listeners in AIR has become stronger thanks to the contribution of the robust digital presence of AIR built lately. All India Radio has been providing news updates on various digital platforms like Twitter, YouTube, app, website, Facebook, Instagram and Crew, along with the traditional means, thereby making it the ubiquitous medium to access trustworthy news. Chairman of the National Technical Advisory Group on Immunization, NTAGI, Dr. N.K. Arora says that All India Radio's social media handles provided platforms to seek health-related information for those who desired it in the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic.
During last 2.5 years, India has faced the onslaught of COVID pandemic. Print and electronic media played a very important role. Social mobilization was done in a preemptive and proactive manner. Awareness was created and people were given the information in a transparent manner. All India Radio used social media channels like Twitter, Facebook and other platforms to effectively spread the messages, whether it is regarding the awareness, whether about corona appropriate behavior or accepting the vaccination program. It has played a huge role in getting India today what it is today.
All India Radio News network digital platforms have achieved trailblazing milestones, the most recent crossing 3 million followers on Twitter. Digital India Corporation CEO Abhishek Singh says the digital platforms of All India Radio are doing a great job.
So many people across the country depend on All India Radio for getting their daily dose of news, daily dose of updates, daily dose of insights in all sectors of economy, all the new happenings, not only in India but abroad. So the fact that All India Radio has reached this milestone of 3 million is no surprise. I am hopeful and I am confident that All India Radio will continue to provide news and updates to all people across the world through its radio network as also its social media channels.
In November 2021, AIR launched a new program called AIR Next to offer youth a platform to air their voices as part of the ongoing Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav celebrations. Such programs aim to encourage the youth to speak about the achievements of the country after independence. Followers of All India Radio say that its digital platforms have become part of their daily life.
Hello everyone, myself Parisha Girya, an 11th grader from North Lakhimpur, Assam. Listening news on All India Radio is a tradition followed across generations. All India Radio's foray into social media space has been proved to be a boon for the younger generation, including me. It has become my one-stop destination to get truthful, accurate and impartial news. Staying updated about current affairs makes me feel empowered and also helps in my studies. I thank All India Radio for their reliable services.
Growth of the News on AIR official YouTube channel to 4.5 lakh subscribers in a short duration of 3 years reflects the relevance of All India Radio News on all platforms. In yet another landmark, the number of followers on Facebook for AIR News has crossed 3.4 million. The followers on the AIR News Facebook page are from more than 43 different countries. This makes it the voice of India and also a link between India and Indian diaspora across the globe. AIR is also disseminating news in regional languages through its 44 Twitter handles across all states and UTs. News on AIR app has proven to be a game changer for All India Radio as 270 All India Radio streams are available on News on AIR app in India and globally in more than 190 countries.
आजाद भारत की बात आकाशवाणी के साथ can be accessed on @AIR News Alerts on Twitter, News on AIR official YouTube channel, News on AIR app, Facebook and Instagram handles. President Draupadi Murmu has greeted the nation on the occasion of Karam Puja. In her message, the President said, Karam Puja symbolizes the sacred affection of brother and sister and also inspires mankind to protect the environment and maintain balance. She hoped that the folk festival brings happiness, prosperity and harmony in everyone's life. In Kerala, after the COVID-19 pandemic and natural calamities shattered festivities for 2 consecutive years, the Onam week celebrations will begin today. Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan will inaugurate the state-level event in the capital Thiruvananthapuram this evening. Prominent personalities and celebrities will also attend the event. Over 8,000 artists will perform at 32 venues across the state during the celebrations.
The coal production from captive and commercial coal blocks increased by 58% in the last 5 months as compared to the same period of 2021-22. According to the Ministry of Coal, 43.93 million tons of coal was produced during April to August this fiscal. The ministry said currently 37 captive and commercial coal mines are operational and around 11 more new mines are expected to start production during this year. It said the addition of new coal mines is expected to significantly contribute to meet coal demand in the country. Outgoing Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Boris Johnson, paid farewell to 10 Downing Street, the official residence of the British Prime Minister, this morning. Speaking to the media outside his residence, Mr. Johnson said that Britain's new Prime Minister and leader of the Conservative Party, Ms. Liz Truss, would take over as the Prime Minister of Britain later today. Mr. Johnson, in his remarks, underlined the fuel and energy crisis due to the ongoing Ukraine-Russia conflict and expressed confidence that the new government would continue to extend support to the people in overcoming this crisis. Calling upon his Conservative Party members to leave aside politics, he urged them to stand with Ms. Truss to overcome what he described as tough times for the economy. A desk report looking at India-UK relations under Boris Johnson.
Boris Johnson's lasting contribution to the India-UK relations is the elevation of the relations to a comprehensive strategic partnership. Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, and Mr. Johnson met virtually in May 2021 and announced a roadmap towards achieving this end. The two Prime Ministers agreed upon a common vision of a new and transformational comprehensive strategic partnership underpinned by a shared commitment to democracy, fundamental freedoms, multilateralism, and a rule-based international order. In the meeting, UK reaffirmed its support for India's permanent membership on a reformed UN Security Council. The bonhomie enjoyed by Mr. Modi and Mr. Johnson was evident at the Conference of Parties or COP26 summit on climate change held in Glasgow in 2021. Mr. Johnson praised his Indian counterpart Narendra Modi's climate ambition and initiatives at the conference. In April this year, Prime Minister Modi said India and the United Kingdom have decided to do their best to conclude the free trade agreement by the end of this year. Pawan, AIR News.
The Subrata Cup International Football Tournament will kick off this evening. The 61st edition of the tournament will be staged across 4 venues in Delhi till the 13th of next month. The first match will be played between NCC versus Chandigarh at 4 p.m. this evening. The Subrata Cup, an annual schools football tournament inaugurated in 1960 by the first Indian Air Force Chief, Air Marshal Subrata Mukherjee, will be resuming after a COVID-induced restrictions. The matches will be played in the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Stadium, Tejas Football Ground, Subrata Park and Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium. In Asia Cup T20 cricket, India will play against Sri Lanka in their must-win Super 4 game at the Dubai International Cricket Stadium this evening. The match will start at 7:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. All India Radio will broadcast running commentary on the match in Hindi and English. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds bilateral talks with visiting Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina in New Delhi today. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh says India is fully committed to further deepening multifaceted strategic partnership with Mongolia. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar says India-Australia relationship has shifted gears and moved into a higher orbit to bring out mutual benefits. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal asserts India's game-changing economic reforms lead to expansion of business frontiers. Centre announces constitution of a national-level committee under chairmanship of former Union Minister Suresh Prabhu for drafting of national cooperation policy. Enforcement Directorate conducts raids in connection with Delhi excise policy case. Karnataka Chief Minister says Bengaluru is facing one of its worst natural calamities of last 90 years. Civic bodies working round the clock to restore normalcy. In sports, the Proto Cup International Football Tournament to kick off in New Delhi this evening. And in the Asia Cup T20 cricket, India to take on Sri Lanka in the Super 4 game at the Dubai International Cricket Stadium this evening. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.gov.in and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the midday news.